Go. I do believe we are live. So I'll say, indeed. And greetings unto you, beloved and holy friends. Thank you for joining me again on another conscious evolution. Today's stream topic is going to be about value in the connections we make. I've been thinking about this a lot ever since my melting experience during New Year's watching Hilda season 3. Like I've been watching Hilda since the first season came out, and every single time I decided to sit down and watch it, I watched it in the psychedelic state of mind, and a part of me feels like I'm almost bringing myself back a little bit more to my childlike state, and in part I enjoyed the show a little bit more because I'm a little bit more childlike minded in that moment, but also I make so many connections, right? It feels so relatable, even though technically it shouldn't be at all, right? For me personally, I make a bunch of connections while watching it. And then I noticed, right, like upon trying to share it with my family members, that they don't make the same connections I do. And because they don't make the same connections I do, they don't find the same value in the thing that I do. And I want to share that as like a stream topic with us today. Just considering the fact that value, something in and of itself, has absolutely no value, right? And I don't actually believe that. This is just me trying to paint things in extremes. But the thing in and of itself doesn't have value. It's the connections you make with it, right? And this can technically extend to like conversations or connections you make with other people as well, right? Like there is not technically intrinsic value for you at the very least in just that other person making sounds with their face, right? I could sit here and go, and that is going to be less valuable to you because you can't connect with anything, right? There's nothing to connect with. There's nothing to feel a sense of, oh yes, I do that sometimes, or I feel that way sometimes, or I think that sometimes, right? So yeah, that is basically the gist of it. Thank you, friends, for joining me for this connection, right? I hope we make some cool connections. See, see what value we extract from today's stream. It's a blessing having you here already. I see Joy V. Blessings to you, Jovan and Sam too. Blessings to you, dear friends, as well. I can't watch media when I'm on mushrooms. I'm too busy having an existential crisis while my mind is melting. That is exactly why I watch media, right? It's because I'm like, oh, I am having an existential crisis. My mind is melting. Let me give myself something to melt into, right? It's almost like it very much is like that. Like I'm so liquid and I'm so molten in that stage, that state, that I almost pour myself into the vessel that is whatever media I am choosing to consume. And I try to be very deliberate about it, right? Like I try to keep it very PG for what it's worth. That's why I tend to watch animated kids shows when I'm in a psychedelic state of mind, because I know this show was probably made with kids in mind, so they're not gonna try and like scar me or something. I mean, sometimes they do. Like I'm thinking about was it Savannah or Sahara, I think, like a snake movie that I also watched on psychedelics. That movie messed me up a little bit. It was also made for kids, but it's less mess uppy kind of vibe. Joy Vive, you get to pour yourself as this molten state into whatever media you consume, and you get to, like, the way that I see it is I almost like have my existential crisis shaded, or filtered, or dyed, like the media is like a very strong dye, like a color, and that dyes my soul a certain hue, and then I get to existential crisis with that color instead of just existential crisis. Anything for a fan, love is true. Let me see what I missed. This makes me feel like value is doubled when shared. Yeah, it is so true. Thank you for bringing that into our collective minds. Let me switch to all messages just to make sure. Can confirm, Joe. My appreciation of Attack on Titan increased exponentially when I shared it with Shell, right? Because now, not only like, and again, to keep it topic relevant, not only have you made the connections, right? Watching Attack on Titan, you have you have felt that sense of injustice. You have felt that sense of hierarchy. You know, you have felt that sense of confusion in your own life and in this world that we're in right now. You have felt that sense of like people lying to one another, keeping secrets, you know, trying to pursue their own vested interests, etc., etc. Like all of that stuff, you can make connections, right? And that's why Attack on Titan is so good for people, is because there's a bunch of connections you can make as you watch it. And then when you share that media with someone else, welkom lang nog op. Dank je, mama. When you share that media with someone else, not only have you made those internal connections, but now that other person is making internal connections. And if they're watching it with the intention of kind of like connecting with you, they'll watch it knowing that you have watched it, and they'll make even more connections that they would have made if they didn't know that you also watched it. Right? I don't know if this makes sense, but I have very much had this experience, you know, watching some of the movies or some of the TV shows. Like what's coming up in my mind right now is The Never Ending Story. You friends recommended that I watch The Never Ending Story, right? And there was a bunch of you friends that was like hyping about it, and then I did. I watched it, right? But and I think I would have probably enjoyed The Never Ending Story if I watched it by myself, right? If I found, you know, a link or something, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna now watch this movie. But I feel honestly that I made much more connection. The movie is much more special to me by the fact that we share that connection amongst one another. Hey, Cable! What a trip! I was on Poems and Chill yesterday, bro. I read your lazy bastard me. Was it that or something like that? Right? Like it made me laugh, Cable. I like cracked up, dude, so much. You know, lazy asshole me or something like that. Please, can you like it's so short. It's like 4 lines, right? Please write that poem for us if you'd be willing to, man. It was so good. It just felt like so real. You know, Cable, Cable knows. Cable knows what's expected of him, and it doesn't make it any easier. Something you love, bro. It's nice having you here, man. Hello, friends. Can I have your autographs? I Mojo. Anything for the fans. Anything. Just tell me what I'm singing for and why, Mojo. Bless you, Sam. Anything for a fan. I am a fan of you all, as we are a fan of you too, Mojo. Kristen is here as well. Duck Dad joining us. Good morning, man. Need a constant arguing to do the smallest of tasks. Adult humans don't need constant arguing to do the smallest of tasks. You'd be surprised, dude. You would be very surprised. It seems that adults sometimes do. I don't think they need it necessarily, but sometimes it helps, you know, create a little bit more momentum. And Kevo, bless Joe. How's it going, Kevo? Happy New Year's, indeed. I don't know if he's here anymore. Maybe he's finding his poem or something. It's a blessing having you friends here. Somebody just sent me a weird message. I think a stranger whose number I do not have saved, but they had made my number saved, just sent me their new number. Oh, and I just saw my messages as well. I got news today. Remember how I made a mistake during Christmas? Right? And I technically it wasn't totaled. It was totaled to the point where it was not drivable anymore from that point forward until it got fixed. But it got it got docked right after my accident with it. And I shared with you friends like the dilemma I was going through, like the person whose jet ski it was, you know, like said like an absurdly high number for what it's going to cost to get it fixed. He took it to get it fixed, and the person sent him a voice note letting him know how much it costs. And then he sent that voice note to my dad, and then my dad sent that voice note to me. And then I listened to the voice note to learn that it is a total of like 100. No, it's a little bit more. It's like, you know, let me just do the math perfectly. It's like 89 or something like that. Let's see. 3500 gedeeld deur 18.3. Is it 18.3? It's about 18.3 right now. So it's $191, right? It's gonna be $191 to get the jet ski fixed, which is not impossible, you know. Uh, I do want to save a little bit of money because I'm moving out by the end of this month, as some of you friends know. So I asked my dad for his number, sent him a direct message, told him my situation, told him I do technically have the $191. I have like 220, 230 like in my bank account right now. So I was like, Mr. Uncle, sir, I technically can pay you everything right now, but I don't want to, not right now, right? Because I want to keep some cash so I can, give my fellow tenants the money I owe them for rent. And he was okay with it. So I sent him 1,111 rand. So I've sent him at least a third, right? At least a third of the money owed. So I feel good about that, right? It is happening. Steps are being taken. At least, Doc Dad, it wasn't like I was expecting it to be like $1,000 to $2,000 worth of damage, and it ended up being only 200 at most dollars of damage. So yeah, universe, thank you. I literally sat down, in like a state of like deep relief, and I was like thanking the universe, being like, "Oh, thank you, Lord. Woo, thank you so much." Oh, jet ski fun. Love you, Kristen. Thank you, dear friend. Thank you so much. Love is true. I appreciate that. Thank you for being willing to help me fix my mistakes. I don't think that's fair, really, but I know your heart and I appreciate your love. This lazy bastard has been doing stage art, Melt. Of course, I'm not calling you a lazy bastard. I'm just like, I don't know if you've written. No, you haven't. You haven't written the poem yet. I'm gonna have to go onto freaking Poems and Chill myself, it seems. Look at me whipping myself right now. This is me being Spice. Poems and Chill. Let's see how long it takes me to find it. No, it wasn't. It wasn't you. It wasn't you, Cable. I'm so sorry, bro. Now I feel even worse. It was Safe too. He called the poem "My Eldritch Gods." I'm so sorry, Cable. You have a bunch of people that uploads, poetry to your page, man. It still seems very active. That's nice. So when I clicked on it, it was the very first post that I saw, and it went, "I should not speak, feeling like a bastard, having stuff to do like everyone else somehow, cold, pretentious, lazy bastard me." I don't know why. I don't think he meant for it to be a comical poem, but it cracks me up. It really cracks me up. Cold, pretentious, lazy bastard me. Like I understand, right? I can connect with this person writing this piece of poetry, and I'm like, yo, bro. Sometimes even me, cold, pretentious, lazy bastard, and even me sometimes. No friends. Thank you, Doctor. Thank you, Joe. I was feeling the same, Kristen. Value shared is value doubled. Thank you, friends. Seriously, for sharing your value with me. Love is true. Like this year already has been so like I don't know, giving, open. Like this year feels like it really wants me to be successful, right? This year feels like it's just like, come on, dude, let's stop all of the bullshit and just start aligning even harder. I'm saying it as vaguely as possible because who even knows what that's supposed to mean. I'm getting blasted by some of the sunlight coming through those branches. I'm gonna move a little bit to the side. Just out of the way, just a little bit. I have been hosting nice shows and concerts. I have my own poetry musical concert on the 12th. Live shows. Bless you, bro. I'm so proud of you, Cable. Our pan was so good for us, man. I'm proud of you for continuing. That's really the most important part, right? The fact that you're still making that connection. You've made the connection inside yourself. You have acknowledged that Keval is a poet, right? That is the fractal that Keval is supposed to occupy. And when our platforms died, right, and we lost literal thousands of followers in a day, right? That is pretty disheartening. And I wouldn't have, and I don't, judge anybody who decided to stop creating content when that was kind of our reality. However, I am connecting with you in this moment, and I'm proud of you for continuing, dude. Don't stop, not stopping. Bless you again, Kristen. Bless you, dear Duck Dad. Bless you, dear Joe, eternally. Thank you, friends, for blessing me as well. There was a mighty show full of emotional vice and drama. Nice. The horror of the audience. Hmm. Something just changed. Okay, let's try again. It's almost like uh, a transition happened, right? Like I felt like a sense of transition, and it almost made my vision cloudy for a second, like blurry, like whitened, and then I had to get used to it for a second before I can reach out again. I'm still kind of tripping out about it. Mm, the horror of the audience, though, when they found that the cast was composed solely of lice. I mean, I probably would be in part horrified as well. Can you judge them? Would I be horrified though, or would I be very impressed? That the show was compromised only of lice. That sounds pretty cool as well. Actually. Their fifth super on a live stream. Bless you, 5 times in a row. Yeah, my server is great, but I stepped away for a while. Enjoy my own show. I'll be doing poetry with a musician playing with me. I'm the main artist. Of course you are, Kevo. Why wouldn't you be, bro? You're the star of the show. I would like to see this light show. An elementary school in your area plays that show all year round. Duck, no stop. Thank you, Mel, and same to you. You never stopped either. Spear tips. Yeah, the tip of the spear is the first thing to get blunt, the first thing to take a beating, the first thing to experience the sheer force of reality. However, I wouldn't have it any other way. I would not have it any other way. I will always choose to be me, right? Do you think about that sometimes? The fact that if you had infinite choice and infinite opportunity, you would infinitely keep choosing to be yourself. Again, again, triple again, because of the connections you get to make in this life, right? The only way for the highest self to experience the connections you make in your life is to be you, right? I believe God wants to be you. That's why you are yourself right now. What does that make you feel? I know I've said that so many times, but how does that actually make you feel? Does that stimulate connection inside your mind and in your soul? I hope so. Joy. Love is true, Melty looks pretty in blue. The jet ski broke, boo. Thank you. I appreciate you, Joe. I appreciate you, Joy. I appreciate you, dear Kristen and Duck Dad. You friends didn't have to do any of that, and yet you still decided to. Huh? Love is true, beyond a shadow of a doubt, especially with you friends. I feel I'm very lucky, I get to live in La La Land, and you friends are like, yeah, let's La La Land harder, I need to. There we go. Mr. Meltmore. Josh. Like I'm getting like a little bit overwhelmed today, it seems. So again, how am I supposed to not drown? I'm supposed to melt into it, right? Maybe that's it. Maybe you can only drown when you consider yourself not to be a part of the water already. Yeah, Pot lives in his house. Bless you, bro. It's nice having you. I was showing your channel to my younger brother, man. Showed him how quickly you got views, how quickly stuff can grow if you actually start creating videos. I'm proud of you, bro. Bless you, man. Thank you for blessing me as well. Yes, Joy, I do poetry. Love again to you, man. Spirit tips. Sam, pretty sure the statement puts you on a list. Sam is already on multiple lists, dude. Sam probably, has like I see like some like raccoon, little bit of raccoon energy in Sam as well, with like her rubbing her little pawsies together, giggling about being on all the lists. Melt some more, baby. Bless you, bro. I'll melt though. I'm melting. This is the way it seems to be. This year is gonna be, like a whole mission for me to get used to the love that you friends choose to continue sharing. It's like, at least a part for me, like I've been kind of dissociating for a while now. Like I had a hard time actually seeing any progress, right? And I feel like this vacation now, or this December when my brother came back home, and with the connections we made and the conversations we shared, it like really set in. It really like it's like I'm like accepting it of what we're doing and how far we've come and the amount of help that you friends have given me. It is an absolute blessing. Mojo saying, Melt, that transition you were feeling was just me changing the batteries on my universal controller joystick. Give me a heads up next time, Mojo. Damn. Sending you blessings. Raccoon energy. I'm still here, yo. That's not an insult to me. I love raccoons. I love raccoons, right? I watched Guardians of the Galaxy 3 exclusively for Rocket Raccoon, right? They could have missed me with all of the other bullshit. They could have just called the movie Rocket Raccoon and I would have watched that one still. I love raccoons, Sam. That's not an insult, right? Like I see them as these cute, fluffy, just in love with live creatures. And that's what I see, making the most of wherever they are. Yeah, it's not supposed to be an insult. At least I hope it isn't received as one. Am I missing messages? Okay, they're just taking a while to come through. I swore I was on the same flying list. At some point, I used to always get pulled at the airport for extra security checks. It lasted for like 3 years. Did you have like drugs on you at one point or something, Joyviv? That might be a little bit of too much of a question, right? It might just be like weed. You had like a little baggie of weed on you or something, and then they found that, and then you got put on a list, and then they wanted to check you every single time or something like that. When I was little, my friends and I had a raccoon club. We each had a stuffed animal raccoon, and it was the best. Yeah, you see Kristen syncing up with me as well right now. Man, will all the cash, with all this cash flying around, I'm out to get, I'm out to crash a jet ski. No, stop, please. Don't do it, dude. Seeing as it's snowing might be a drug test in my future. Love is true. Okay, what's my intention? Make connections? Yeah, love is true. I will make connections. I will feel connected. I will remember that what I'm here for is this experience of connectedness, not separation, but this moment, this love that we get to share, right? Got that myrcene. Sam, says Jovan. Me and my sister are very pridefully raccoons by night and would love a darling like you to join our fight club. Yeah, yeah. Like, I like how Sam has been radio silent since. Okay, there we go. Okay, good. As soon as Sam saw Fight Club, you say? Ears perking up, and those little masks, little eyes darting towards you suddenly. Daily discipline is what sets you apart, and is what creates growth. Daily discipline. You know what the weird thing is about daily discipline, Josh? Is that it ends up messing you up in different ways, dude. Like, even though I have daily discipline, I have absolutely no sense of time anymore, right? Like legitimately. Like, for instance, to give you an idea, when I was looking at my scarves on my YouTube thumbnails to know which scarf I'm supposed to wear today, just looking back 10 days, right, I can already not really fathom that it's only been 10 days since that version of me was sitting there and having those conversations. So I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, because it feels like I'm more aloof, like I'm more lost in the sauce, to attach it to another stream topic we had recently. It's almost like I'm filling my buffer. Does it make sense? Like in computers, if you have like a certain amount of allocated memory, you can basically put instructions in that allocated memory. And as your processor kind of processes that information, it buffers all of that information. And it's almost like I keep inputting more and more information, that my buffer is ceaselessly full, that it makes me always feel like either weeks have passed or no time at all, right? And I don't know if it's me, if I'm the one that's the problem, like if I'm the one that's lost, if you will, or if it's the work I'm doing right now and the nature of the work I'm doing. I'm not opposed to it. I don't have a problem with it. I don't believe in time, technically speaking, right? I believe time is but an illusion as well. I agree that we experience linearity, right? But there's a difference to me. Just because things can be linear doesn't mean they are. Especially when we talk about infinities, right? You can walk a straight line your whole life, not realizing you're walking in a circle, right? That kind of vibe. So I see time as putting myself in the circle when I know I'm technically in an infinity symbol, right? I'm not looping per se as much as I am going all the way around reality and coming back to myself over and over again. And yeah, it makes me, at least at the very least, it makes me egoically difficult to have a conversation with sometimes when it comes to chronological happenings of things. Did that make any sense whatsoever? No. Well, welcome to my life. I'm sorry. Let me bring this a little bit closer. Sam is totally a raccoon. I like how I said it, and then Sam was like, "Hey, I'm still here," and I was banking on you being here, Sam. It was a compliment in my mind, and then Gable is like, "Yeah, 100%, 100%. Teach me your ways." Wait a second. There we go. Laughing out loud this morning, bless him and you. I may or may not fly with Bud, but I have never been found to have any on my person at the airport. Okay, yeah. Like, I was thinking that it might be something like that, right? Like something happened, and then because of that something happening, you had to kind of like compensate. But no, interest rate. Racism? Maybe. Hmm. Maybe they just wanted to spend more time with you. Maybe they wanted to touch you, JV. Maybe you're just that sexy, They're like, yes, look at this absolute smoke show. Let's inconvenience her. Look through her shit. I'm sorry, I can't understand, right? Like, I feel like we are like, I don't see you exactly as a terrorist. That's the point I'm really trying to make, Joy Vive. right? Like you don't exactly scream suicide bomber. Like you look like you enjoy life. You don't want it to come to the end. Okay, well, I'm good at the moment. The holidays were a little rough, but damn, 2024 is going to be lit. Yeah. Our beloved Joy Vive has been winning the fight against the virus. I read recently that part of ADHD is having a poor sense of time. Like, I do consider myself a highly ADHD individual. You friends can probably notice it with my way of having conversations in the stream. That's why I have to, like, literally strap myself down with, like, time. 4 p.m., I live stream. Still 4 p.m. right now. It's 4:35 p.m., but it's live stream time. So, yes, I'm ADHD. Yes, I have no sense of time. That's why I create these rigid lines, and then I find myself within those crosshairs. And I have high accuracy, right? I like having high accuracy. If I need to be somewhere, I usually get there before I'm supposed to be there. The only reason I'm not starting my streams before 4 is because I'm still giving yoga just before 4, right? So, and I appreciate doing that stuff with you friends as well. I just feel so blessed, like overwhelmingly so. Just being in this moment, having you friends here with me. We got a new place. I haven't shared that either. Like there's just so much stuff happening in my mind right now. Too many connections happening at the same time, right? I don't know which to assign the most importance to, etc., etc. Like we already, asked for the paperwork and sent in our proof of. Debt reliability and salaries and etc etc, and this is the place that we are basically deciding that we are going to go with. And the outsides, open garages. Niet. Yep, the kitchen is built upside down, which is a little bit inconvenient, but we're gonna have to deal with it. Please, sir. There we go. uh, Big open spaces, user rooms. A box for me to put my flesh in. Yay! A box to wash my flesh in. I'm so sorry. This is just me tripping myself out as well right now. Yeah. Dems be it. So if all goes well, that's gonna be our new home very soon. What a trip. So I was going down a tangent of just talking about how I'm feeling right now, how grateful I am, the connections I'm making, right? Just to be here in this moment with you, friends. Moving is going to be a whole thing. And you, friends, with your donations and with your support, have made me feel so safe and secure and like I can do this, that I want to just thank you. Like straight up, thank you. Like you don't have to donate anything. Just you being here right now is adding like a layer of buffer, right? Like if I'm having a hard time, if I'm inputting so much information that I'm having a hard time buffering all of this information, right? I think of you friends as adding layers of buffer as well, right? That like safety blankets, maybe, like a social net, if you will. I feel secure and safe and supported by you friends, and I want to thank you. Seriously. Thank you so much for that. Love is true. Like I know that we can continue doing this indefinitely with this amount of support. It feels like I can't be stopped, to be completely honest, right? Like I can punch through walls. Oh no, we don't talk about it directly. It's a lifestyle. I wish you a banger, 2004. Thank you. Raccoon Crew. Lozana, thinking of you, my twin. Bless. I don't know if she's here just yet. I haven't seen her in chat. Sending you blessings, Lozana. Maybe she's busy in her world. Mel, don't leave the farm. His surroundings don't change, and he does the same task at the same time every day. Yeah, it messes with you a little bit. It does mess with you. It starts messing with you where you're like, is it today? It has been today for the last 200 days. When was 200 days? 200 days ago, or was it today? What is today? What is it? A small insight into the manic side of my own mind. I have raccoon stuffed puppet. I spent my $5 on April O'Neil action figure with a motorcycle, and my mom pulled out the animal I was going to buy from her, and I cried so bad. Luke, that sounds so beautiful. My brother ran and got some money to give me, but my mom felt real bad about it. This was when I was 6, maybe, but I still remember it. It's funny now. It's a connection, right? That's like a deep connection that you made that lingers, that is still here with you. So clearly it is important. Maybe as a way to consider being more compassionate towards your little ones or your loved ones as well. Pod says, or Josh says, Matt. So when I went to the USA last year, are you flexing on me right now? Are you like I couldn't get to the freaking USA, bro. Like, seriously, how did you get to the USA? Was it because you had a job? I'm curious, man. They didn't let me in. I had my tickets paid for and everything. They were like, "Nah, fam, yeah, nay, you cannot come in. You cannot come here." I met a girl on the way there. It was the second flight from Germany to the US after like a 14-hour layover. I met this girl on the flight, and we spoke for 11 hours on the flight, and we had such a strong connection. I wanted to connect with her over social media, but both our phones died. She gave me her Instagram handle on a piece of paper, and when I left the airport, as we got to the car, there was a strong storm, and I literally, movie type shit, blew the note out of my hand over the fence where the planes are. The 11 hours I shared with that absolute stranger was such a strong connection. It was like I knew her for years. I've tried to find her for months. Like, I'm feeling a bunch of ways about this. Like, I'm making a bunch of connections internally as well, just listening to that story, Josh. And dude, on the one side, I believe that, again, what is valuable, right? The value. If there is any value to come from that whole experience, the value was in those connections you shared, right? That connection you had with that person on that flight for the 11 hours you could spend with them, that is the value, right? And value is value, even if there's only one of it, right? Like, gold is valuable even if you only have a single coin. If I only gave you like one coin of gold right now, you're not gonna be like, oh, this is valueless because there's only one of it. No, you're gonna be like, oh wow, that's super cool. Thank you for the gold coin. Right? So you got that value from that connection. It sucks. Like, I can feel your heart. Oh, I can feel my heart as your heart in that circumstance, right? That what if, that, you know, it should have been that connection that is true, the whole trip of where is she now in the world, and I get that too. But still, you're the one making those connections. So you're still technically extracting value, right? So maybe, if anything, the connection I would recommend you make is that that is possible. You know, if it was possible with that stranger randomly on that flight, it will be possible again, potentially with another stranger, maybe on another flight, maybe on a day off, maybe on a, you know, day when you're serving them, you know, as a waiter even. Who knows? No, 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 I'm just joking. I'm just poking fun at you as well, bro. Don't worry about it, man. Went for work. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. They let you out of SA Pod. Yeah, I see like how Joy Vivas also put melt in your suitcase next time because they won't let him out. Yeah, he went for work. So he probably had like people who had money in your country who were like, you must come, because we're gonna pay you monies to be here, right? What they fear in America, right? Like, the reason I'm a flight risk is because they look at me and hit the checkbox of hippie fuck. You know, they're like, yep, checks the box. Long hair, checks box. Smokes weed, checks box. Eats psychedelics, checks box. Listens to psychedelic trance, checks box. Makes art and does live stream, checks box. Just like they're checking all the boxes that goes flight risk. Like it's just like a 50-page long list that they keep checking. So they worry that as soon as I put foot on American soil, I shall never again leave it. I shall never again get another plane and come back to my country. So they kind of judge me. They allow me into the country based on how sure they are that I will, in fact, get back on a plane and come back to my country. And yeah, I get from their perspective. I kind of like my country and I have a family like a lot of them, and I have friends, and I have technically business aspirations in this country as well, even though they haven't manifested quite as much just yet. There is a lot of reason for me to come back, but there's not a lot of reason for them to see for me to come back here. And if you understand the economics of countries, it would be stupid of me to come back to South Africa if I had a choice not to, right? So I get where your country is coming from. I'm not that salty. I'm like at most 27% salt. The rest of it is understanding. Mm. I can't see. So he can't see, so he doesn't drive on the highway. Did we miss something? Yeah. Well, Melt, you were right. I just had to have an actual argument with my father about why it's a bad idea for him to be driving me to surgery tomorrow morning at 5:30 a.m. in the snow. He can't see, so he doesn't drive on the highway, and he wants to take only back roads before the plow comes out. It's the absolute worst way to do it. Highways get plowed first. I told him that I would drive us to the appointment and he can take whatever roads he wants home after I have safely made it to my appointment. He said no. Why? Why does he not want you to drive one way? Right? Is it pettiness? Is it ego that's coming in? Oh, bro. At least you know what? I'm making the connection that your dad loves you, and he wants to, even if it's begrudgingly, help you. So, how are we going to look at it? I feel you still, bro. Sending you blessings, man. Hoping for the best kind of turnout for you both. Please don't go any earlier, Melt. It would be night. Love is true. Uh, I said I have a 4-year-old daughter and I can't die doing something so reckless when highways are available. He said, no, I am lost for words. Connections to connections to connections are made. Sending you blessings, dear Melita. It's nice having you here. Now that you have spent some more time with your little Dynavap, how are you liking it? I'm going to keep asking because I recommended to another friend again today to get themselves one as well. Smells so nice. I don't know if I want to show you photos. I shouldn't actually. No, it's not. It's not advisable. But I saw some photos from the same guy who sent me this bud. He got a new menu in. So there's a bunch of bud available right now. Like a bunch of people autoflowers came off basically, at the end of December. So there's a bunch of new bud in the market. And he got some Durban poison that looks beautiful. And then after seeing the Durban poison and letting him know that I might want some of it, I mentioned to him that I still like. Remember that indoor I bought? What was it now? The Can't remember the exact date, but it was early December. It was before I went to Christmas and stuff. I still have some of all of the indoor bud left. Right? I bought a single gram of 4 different strains, and I still have like half a gram of each left because of how efficient this little thing is. I guess if you're a dealer maybe that's not a good thing, right? Like if you're a dealer, you want people to smoke grams of indoor in a single sitting, and not smoke, grams of indoor over weeks. Literally, 4 grams of indoor has lasted me more than 3 weeks now, going on their fourth week. Man, where was I? Okay, there we go. Cable, glad to hear you're taking your opportunities. I have been climbing uphill so far this year, but doing it in stride. Love is true, dear Joe. Maybe if anything, with the connections we make, if you're climbing uphill, they're probably getting really jacked, super strong. Climbing uphill is hard work. She's been in yoga every morning, but not in stream. Does anyone know why? Is LA super busy or unwell? I mean, she is hurting a little bit, so she might just be back to bed, recovering. Namaste, dear Candace. What a pleasure seeing you here, dear friend. Hope the little ones are doing well. Happy New Year. May it be a blessed one for both of you, for all of you, not both of you. There's 6 of you, right? There's 6 of you, 5 kids, and you. Wild. That's a whole ass family. Hope you're doing well, dear friend. May this new year be beautiful. There's a fly kind of like walking super close to my camera. So if you see something, no, that's what it is. That broke my heart into 1,000 pieces. Oh, you romantics, you. Mm-hmm. Sorry, I'm done. You don't have to be dumb, bro. I understand. I'm just so over people stubbornly fighting logic and acting like I'm the asshole. Seems to be one of the things that we're going to have to deal with in this lifetime. I wonder why as well. Right? Is it something that we have to get better at? Maybe a little bit. That's so exciting. Bless. Thank you. I'm also excited. It's gonna be a new chapter. It's gonna be a good one. Nancy, I have an endoscopy and biopsy tomorrow. It's my only ride. They require a ride home. Not sure what I'm going to do. Hopefully the roads are good. There's no way for you to get an Uber. Is that not a ride home? Does that not count? Love is true. I don't know if one of our friends would be capable of coming through for you or something like that, man. Mm-mm-mm. I think if the wind kind of like blows over it as well, it takes a little bit longer for it to heat up. But then it ends up being a little bit colder inside the actual chamber. Making it scorch a little bit less. Imagine we meet again. They're scared you might put LSD in the water there, bro. If I had the money to, dude, I would facilitate people treating themselves. I had to switch into like a whole new set of mind there for a second and be like, hey, oh, be careful what you wish for. Like America has never had hippies before. I mean, Sam, the Americans, at least the American system, did a lot to ensure the hippies don't continue. They wanted to put a stop to the hippies. So I'm kind of joking. I don't know if that's actually the reason why they don't let me in, but by extension, perhaps they already. I mean, if if the government was gonna put any drug in the population's water source, it would just be straight meth. You would literally have a population that is at minimum 10% to 40% more productive, right? So yeah, and I don't think that people haven't considered doing stuff like that. Like seriously, my brain's actually like, I'm going to call in and make a 6-hour drive to get this guy there safe. It's 6 hours of driving. Is there no way for you to drive the day before? When it's still light out and you don't have to drive in the morning? I don't know if that's going to be extra expenses though. I'm having a tea break now, so I'm put on hold for a bit. I think maybe that's good. At least with this as well. I think the fact that you're taking a tea break, coming back to this is going to be even nicer as well. Because this was kind of my reintroduction into weed. You know, I went from smoking joints, which is a lot of THC, technically being absorbed kind of quickly, to a very controlled amount, right? And if you heat up your chamber and you evaporate all of that THC off, you're not going to get any more, right, by smoking it longer, for example. Your joint isn't going to, kick you as hard as it, or this isn't going to kick you as hard as your joint will when you come back to it. I have friends whose parents are weird about them using their cars. It's weird. Yeah, sometimes things happen, right? And then like I had this conversation with Rudo as well, with this whole jet ski thing, and like time passed and we sat down and we had a conversation about the position we would want to be in personally in order to be able to facilitate other people's enjoyment as well, right? And some people aren't in the position where they can afford to fix their cars or afford to replace their cars, or maybe they just do not want to spend that extra expense when they don't need to, and they would much rather not be put in that position. They would rather, if anything ever happens to their vehicle, be the one that made the mistake and then be the one to pay for the mistake than have somebody else make the mistake and then having to pay for it. Or even at the very least, even if they don't have to pay for it, they have to be inconvenienced by the repair process or the paperwork or the inconvenience or the feelings of guilt or the feelings of anger, the feelings of disappointment, etc., etc. Like it's a complicated thing, material possession. That's why I feel a lot of our exuberant experiences are going to transition into the digital, because one, you can have even more freeing of experiences, you can make even more connections, to put it in that perspective, and two, it's going to be exponentially cheaper, right? Like for me to create an experience where you go to the outskirt of Jupiter and then, like chill there for a bit, having a beautiful conversation about abundance, or whatever. And then you go and chill next to the sun, watching the solar flares kind of like paint across the field of vision, from where you're sitting. And then we have a conversation about energy and how we give one another energy, right? And like I want to do stuff like this one day, and I probably will. But for me to create an experience like that, it's going to take experientially some of my time and some of my effort and some of my attention. But then after creating it, I can share that experience for relatively inexpensive, to almost like zero cost, right? When it comes to the internet, there's still going to be some cost, right? I'm still going to have to price it in some way that I, as a creator, gets compensated fairly, whatever that's going to mean. And you friends will be the ones that helps me, figure that out, because I consider myself worthless more than I consider myself valuable sometimes. So I would rather give things away for free, because again, I find value in people making that connections more than I find value in just the money in and of itself at the end of the day. But the point I'm trying to make is, in comparison, if you had to actually get on a real spaceship and then actually jet yourself out of the atmosphere to get to Jupiter and then to sit next to Jupiter. Like I was talking about all of that stuff being created in digital space, right? Doing that physically, using a vehicle to get there, and then using that vehicle to get all the way back to the sun. One, it's going to literally take weeks, if not months, if not years of travel to just nilly-willy travel to these different places to have those different experiences. But two, it is going to be exponentially more expensive, inachievably inexpensive for the average person, right? So that's why I believe we're going to transition more to digital experiences, and that's why I'm trying to position myself, right? That's why I encourage you friends as well to create online whatever you love. if you love something, right? If your soul becomes awakened, you have a smile on your face, you get to giddily have a conversation about this thing that you enjoy doing. If you have anything like that in your life, you will be successful creating content online. That's really how easy it is, you know? And success means different things to different people. I consider myself super successful right now in this moment, right? And if you measure your success on having millions of subscribers, right, and earning hundreds of thousands of dollars a month, then by that metric, I'm not even close to successful. But that's not my measure of success, right? That's not the connections I am out to make. And I feel that alone, right? What connections are you out to make? It's an important question to ask yourself, because that is where true value lies for you, right? And only you can make a connection in yourself. Nobody is going to be able to give you that value. I can come to you, right? For instance, maybe I saw an interesting video and I can send you that video because I'm like, oh, you would love this. I felt a connection with you. I thought about you when I was watching this, right? And then you have to decide to click on that video and to experience it, to actually get the value that I was trying to share with you. I can from my side, reach out, but it's going to be impossible for you to extract the value if there's no connection being made on the inside. So again, thank you, friends, for making these connections. Continue to. People will appreciate your connections in the outer world as well. The AI one day even will appreciate those connections. Please don't. My dad is like, he drives a 2002 Toyota Corolla. Yeah, in that kind of like road conditions, I would not recommend it. Mel, you have this funny idea about Americans, like there's millions to be achieved the minute you hit the US soil, yet somehow none of us are ultra wealthy. No, 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 no. It's not this funny idea. It's more like a mobility thing, right? Like for me, like it's like an averages thing, Javiv. If I could, in a radius, talk to every single person that was in a certain radius, right? I would be able to point to every one of those people and determine, right? Like if I had omnipresence or omni awareness, I could determine, yeah, this person has so much money in their account. This person has so much money in their account. This person has so much money in their account. This person has so much net worth, right? This person has so many assets that are valued this much. This person has so many things that I've purchased with the money that they've earned. This person has so much earning potential where they are right now, etc., 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 etc. Right? Those averages in America are significantly higher, and I mean significantly. Like South Africa would be a bar like this size, and then America would be a bar like this size, right? Like, and it keeps probably going. Like that's the averages I'm talking about. So it's not an illusion of grandeur. Like as soon as I step foot in America, suddenly eternal abundance just like attaches to my body. No, it's more if I spend more time there, connecting and talking to more people, my odds of earning more capital are exponentially higher in America than it is in any other place in the world. And that is statistically true, right? If you look at the amount of millionaires being created, if you look at the amount of, right, upper middle class individuals, like there's a bunch of, economic health metrics to kind of like look at. America is doing well. I don't think, again, I think like there's a problem of distribution. Like we are in late stage capitalism right now, which is unfortunate, but yeah, change comes for all things, right? We'll just have to continue seeing where this is going to go. I love you all, but today is Duckling's first day back at school. I have to go play drums before I scream. 14 days straight off, primary parents have worn on me. Bless you, Duck Dad. Go and hit them skins. I don't know if that's the right way to articulate, but go and get that frustration out, bro. I'm gonna switch the camera so you friends can see where I'm walking. I'm gonna go and what the? That's sorry. Maybe. Is it there? I think this is a little bit in the way, actually. No, I'll just do that. Get that a little more leveled out. I I think I'm still missing a few comments. Hey, I see Fit Demon. Bless you, bro. I'm coming back in a second. I'm just thirsty. I'm thirsting for high and some oxygens. Give them to me. Yeah, 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 yeah. So beautiful. Eternal blessings. Ooh. Sadao. What's it? Ah, there we go. Mm. Like how we have had like 3 different perspectives in today's stream. Sorry for my ADHD trying to level things. I look forward to having robotics that as soon as I place my tripod down, it automatically goes. And I'm like, yes, robotic precision. Yes, please, more. Give me more robotic precision. Like I can feel Christian being like, be careful what you wish for. Stop it. I am wishing. I do want robotic precision. It makes sense to me. I can connect with it. I guess is another way to see it as well. Mm-hmm. Master Melt, your loss of time is caused by the chems, bro. Trust me. Been smoking like 3 dabs daily for 3 years, and I'm 26 days sober now. My house came back to me. My hours came back to me. No cap. No, bro. Like I've taken some breaks with the smoking at least. Like the sense of time changes. It depends on where I find myself as well. Like I'll have a lot of hours. It's not that I don't have the hours. It's that the hours are so full that they feel like days. And because of them feeling like days, as days pass, the hours feeling like days overlap to the point where I don't know what was days and what was hours anymore. Like that's what I mean, right? It's not that I don't have time. It's the contrary. It's like I have infinity time at all times. Too much of it, in fact. Like seriously, like I robotic precision. I'll just say that, dude. I'll just say that, like robotic precision. Like I have like let me communicate it in the way of like volumes of production, right? The amount of stuff I can produce right now, if I have the materials and if I have the just the materials, realistically, right, is like maybe a single, maybe like a 0.1 of a percent of my current output, right? Like if I had the materials to continue outputting, right now I'm outputting only 0.1% of that, right? So it's not that I feel like I don't have enough time. It's like I have other limitations right now. And I'm okay with that kind of vibe as well. Like I'm aware that not only do I have other limitations, but I'm choosing these limitations wisely, right? Like I could have chosen other limitations, and I'm happy with mine. So, yeah, that's the best way I can say it vaguely enough to not trip myself out too much, or you, for what it's worth. Yeah, not tripping either of us out. Trying to be super mindful. I don't know if this is really helping that much, but I hope so. Have time at all times. Yes. Extra time on top of your time. Durban Poison is the only weed I've ever smoked that gave me an anxiety attack. I've heard people say that about it. I want I want that. I don't know why, Doc Dad, But for some reason, my mind goes, maybe some anxiety would be good for me, bro. I am very relaxed, and I maybe too relaxed right now. Maybe I need to have some anxiety attack. And I like how the friends who actually have anxiety attacks are like not finding this very funny. They're going like, "Bro, you have absolutely fucking no idea what you're talking about." I know, and sometimes that's exactly what my personality type does, where it fucks around and then finds out, as his ass handed to him, and then I come crawling back, being like, "No, please." And I actually have had like a weed-induced anxiety attack. uh, I I was let me give you the full context, because I think it's important. I was selling a fiber run, like a local fiber run through a client to a school. Like he was representing an internet installation company that was working for the school, and then by extension, they subcontracted us to run like fiber line on the school grounds to extend their internet connection to the other side of the school without having to use repeaters, just having like a straight fiber line, right? So the deal was made. My commission was banked, kind of vibe. And then he invited me over to his place, and he lives in the city, right? So he has had access to good weed for like a decade at that point, and he has this really nice weed. It smells amazing. He stacks me a bowl, and at that point, I've been smoking my bud, which is still good, still makes you experience what you're supposed to experience, but it wasn't as strong, right? Arguably speaking. And I think at that point, it was like my very first hit of the day as well, or something like that. And I asked him if I can add some keef to my bowl. And he's like, yeah, sure. And I add some keef. And I don't know if I added too much of it, but I hit my bowl. And directly after we hit the bowls, he mentioned to me that he's going to go and pick up some more bud, right? Because there was someone coming to deliver it. So it was like such a quick transition of like, oh, we're gonna sit down, like chillax a little bit, have a conversation, smoke a bowl, to now we're gonna go, right? And just before we were gonna go, and I think maybe that was a part of the wanting to go, or maybe even not, maybe that was just how it worked out. But I also got like super like anxiety stony, where you feel like you're an imposter and you're not supposed to say anything, and like you're feeling super exposed and vulnerable, and no 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 no. So I was like going through all of that like mentally as well. And then we started walking, right? Like we kind of like walk outside of this apartment, and it was like kind of like in an estate that had like a little gated area, and just across that gated area was a street, and then just across that street was like a little supermarket place, with a parking lot at the front of it. And we walk out the gate, we walk over the street into that little supermarket parking lot, and I see this BMW pull past me, right? And it has the most tinted windows I've ever seen in my life. It has these little suction cup, like baby on board little shields. But that car is so clear that there ain't no babies in that car, right? Like that car has no babies. But he has these little baby like privacy filters, sun shields, so you can't see inside the car. Even if you could like look through the tint, you can't see through that thing, right? Like it was so freaking shady. And he drives past me, and I'm like, and it was like just like I'm tripping out, just recanting this experience because of the amount of anxiety I was going through. Like I can feel like this aura, coming. And then that aura turns out to be this BMW vehicle, right? And then that BMW vehicle drives into like one of the parking lot areas. And then the dude who I'm walking with walks up to this vehicle, right? And then peeks into the window and then walks out from the window again, afterwards. And like instantly my mind, feels like this is so sus that I could detect, oracally speaking, that this was like a weed car or a drug dealer car or whatever. And if I could, and at this point, weed was still technically illegal in South Africa. And I'm saying technically because weed is completely recreationally decriminalized. It's legal for us to grow our own plants. It's legal for us to smoke in our own abodes, you know. But it like went straight legal for recreational instead of going through the normal route of like medical first and then recreational. We just went straight recreational. So I was still tripping out, right? Like we're doing something illegal right now. And then after we get the bud, we start walking back, right? And like at that point, my anxiety is like at peak levels. And I see like a pizza delivery person, you know, driving their little scooter with their little pizza delivery box. And I'm like tripping out, telling myself that this person is like probably some sort of agent, you know, disguised as a pizza delivery person because that would look less suspect, right? And then I continue walking, you know, like not wanting to look behind me and look even more suspicious towards the pizza delivery person. And then, you know, before we get turned into his apartment again, there's like a person doing like yard maintenance or upkeep, you know, and like I don't know. Maybe it was because I was like so high in that moment that everything felt like a movie, but it was very much like movie-esque. This person using like a bush trimmer, wearing like full overalls. It looked like picturesque. Like this person is pretending to be a gardener right now, you know, and he's like fooling me. I'm believing him. And we walked into his apartment area again, and we sat down, and absolutely nothing happened. And it was in that experience that I really kind of, I think that was the very last ever high anxiety experience I've had. And that was in 2020, 2019, 2019. Yeah. No? Yeah. Maybe 2018 even. Between 2018 and 2019. That was the last high anxiety experience I've had. And I really like schooled myself where I was like, bruh, you do realize you were tripping yourself out. There were no secret agents. None of that, bro. You were just very high. Just very high. And as soon as I realized that about myself, you know, that you can, in your, again, with the connections you make, right? Because I was making connections that weren't there. And value wise, right? I was assigning value to them. Like, this is the end of my life, you know, when again, it wasn't true. I was making those internal connections and I was assigning value to them and I was ruining my own experience in doing so. So I try not to, at least right now. Fortunately, I think it helps with the decriminalized status of it. So, you know, there's nothing to worry about, you know. Mm, okay, exactly. That's why I'm going to visit South Africa now. Need to make an exit strategy. They are in school now and loving it. I started the process of getting my realtor license. I think you mentioned. How far along are you, dear friend? I think that's going to be a really cool experience for you as well. I think there is good money to be made as well, so that could be good for the kids. Bless you, dear friend. May this be such an abundant year for you. Joy, if you could get over the jungle full of creepy crawlies, I have on good authority that Costa Rica is excellent for expats. If you go to Costa Rica instead of South Africa, I'm gonna be so cross. I'm gonna be all kinds of upset about that. Chat. I heard it's exponentially cheaper to live there as well, not to mention all the other perks. I have a couple of friends that have moved to the Dominican Republic. I'm not against Costa Rica, but I haven't been yet. Yeah, maybe visit there first before moving. I'll get my wife to sign off. Just look at me, traveling home inspector. Come to South Africa. I am biased. Yes, I am. I'm super biased, but I am serious as well. Right? South Africa has a lot of potential. This country is not perfect, but if you can show me one perfect country, you know, I'll do triple backflips for you. Ain't no such thing. And this room here, and property is still relatively cheap. If you earn in dollars, it is extremely cheap. Right? So come to South Africa. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. I have a Kiwi friend who offered to marry me so I can make an exit if needed. New Zealand is so far away from friends and family. I have a New Zealand friend, Nancy. It's true. I think we're going to meet in the year 2025. That's next year. That's trippy. Yossi, you're saying that. How did I turn 26 so quickly? I remember as a 16-year-old, telling him, let's set on our Google Calendar because he was leaving when I was 16. I told him, like, we're going to meet in like a decade from now. And a decade from now is now, it's this year? Surely not. I'm turning 26 this year. Bruh. I guess. The thing I'm thinking about is, are we going to be ready, right? Financially speaking, to make that mission? I would like to go to New Zealand, right? That's what I'm thinking about. Hey, Google, how much are tickets to New Zealand? If I can even get there. I didn't even consider that. Oh, 30,000 Rand on the cheap end, 40,000 Rand on the high end. That's like 1,500, 1,600 to 1,000, no, 2,000. Between 1,600 and 2,000 dollarinos. Mm, mm, no, probably not this year. Maybe. No. I don't think with the working, right? Like that's gonna be reasonable. I never joke about travel. I would absolutely go on a trip with you, wife notwithstanding. Love is true. Maybe you'll hit it off actually. Tie dye life, bless you. Fun fact: your American minimum wage for farming is literally what doctors make monthly in South Africa. You're not wealthy in your country because the living cost in the US is extremely high. This is also true. But there are ways around that, right? Like there is communal living, for example. Like even though cost of living isn't that high in South Africa right now, I'm getting away with a cheaper place because I'm living with roommates. And I know that's not for everybody. And especially if you have grown to a certain point and you've reached a certain comfort in your own adult self where you don't want any roommates, right? And I get that as well. But if you're, as you mentioned, earning that kind of money and your intention is to actually, live well or save cash, then you can do that in the US, which is a lot harder. Right? For me, for example, I went to China, right? And I saved a bunch of money. I made much more money that was reasonable. Again, right? I earned as much as engineers earned, more technically, some of them, you know, much more than teachers in China, teaching English with no experience, no degree. I mean, I did get my ASL, English certification or whatever, but yeah, it's a lot. Cost of living here is outrageous. Federal minimum wage is $7.25, but statewide it varies by locality. This is true. At least it's not that way everywhere. I can support housing, food, medical, exactly, on minimum wage. Did I just hear traveling to the outskirts of Jupiter? Yeah. Digitally, though, right? It will be digital, but is it going to be any less significant? I don't actually think so. I think, in fact, it's going to be more significant because there is no personal, I might die doing this, right? You get to be even more free, in my mind, more disembodied. Hey, Fadiman again. I hope the weekend was good to you all. Hope yours was good as well. Maybe this week is going to be even better. Sending you blessings, friend. I don't know if people realize we're experiencing the 1,000 paper cut syndrome here. Yep, I know what you mean, Nancy. Something is going to have to give. That's clear, right? And Gen AI is probably going to be the catalyst, right? Accelerated. Active acceleration. Is that what it's called? EAC? Effective acceleration? I think that's what it is, right? EAC is effective acceleration. that there is a singularity coming, right? And a singularity quite literally means that we as human beings don't even have the vocabulary, don't have the imagination, don't have the capacity to articulate right now how vastly things will be differently. And I believe that vastly difference is going to come within the next, at most, 22 years. No? Yeah. No? 20 years. 20 years. Right? I think the year 2020, 2044, the world is going to be exponentially different, right? Like we are here and the world is going to be there, right? Like that curve. That curve is going to happen in the next 20 years. Like we're already kind of like here on that curve right now. Everything is becoming awakened, right? Like we are literally giving our rocks consciousness right now. The amount of time it took for biology to go from a single celled organism to you with your ability to make these connections, right, was billions of years. The amount of time it took for computers to go from the freaking Atari, to a supercomputer, a digital superintelligence, is going to be decades, not billions of years, but decades. Right? That's a big deal. And I feel, unfortunately, because of our billions of years of evolution and thousands of years of history, both the remembered and then the hundreds of thousands of history that is forgotten, right, kind of has set us up to lose when it comes to our understanding of things, when it comes to the nature of the exponential. So, this is all to say, Nanshi, there is hope. I believe, at the very least, there is hope. It might be uncomfortable for a little bit, but don't die, right? That's all you have to do, is to not die and to not accelerate your own death as well by bad decision making. They do studies every year. There is no state in the US where you can support yourself working full time, being paid minimum wage. You can't afford food and housing. Forget about healthcare. I have never had healthcare, for what it's worth, right? I can also not afford healthcare. So, yeah, to some people, that's just the reality of life, right? Like, to me, it's not a big deal that I don't have healthcare because I've never had healthcare. And I'm blessed. Thank you, Mama Gaia, for keeping me healthy. Body for keeping me healthy. I am blessed. I don't know how long that will last, but I also believe that the medical is going to get cheaper with generative AI, right? Because instead of a doctor having to study for years, decades to get proficiently good to diagnose your disease, you have AI trained on all data, literally thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of years of experience in this entity in front of you, right? Like it is going to be one, cheaper to do that, and two, it's going to be safer for your medical health as well. My hourly was $16.80, and I worked 100-hour weeks. Yes, that's fucked up. Oh, yo, during harvest season, and that was like $1,600 a week in South Africa. That's a good salary for a month, bro. That is a fuck ton of money. Let me do the math. So I'm sorry for the cursing. During harvest season, $6,400 a month. That is 18.3, 120,000 rand a month. That's bonkers, bro. I didn't know that the Burkis earned that much money. The 100-hour weeks sounds pretty brutal, though. Harvest season. How long is harvest season? It's a good study for a month. Yeah, that's true. You'll see. I didn't know that like, they earned that much, actually, bro. I'm kind of surprised. There is no social mobility here. Your current circumstances determine your future success. That is simply not true, Joydeep. I don't believe that, right? Because by that definition, I was never supposed to be a YouTuber, right? And you can argue that I'm not one, right? We have 11 friends in this space with us right now. 11. Which means to me that by the world's metrics of how successful a YouTuber is supposed to be, I'm not one. But still, despite me being all the way here in South Africa, sitting on a farm in the middle of nowhere, it is possible for me to escape my circumstances. It is, Joyviv. And I know I'm lucky in this circumstance. I know that that's not the way that it works for every single person. What I'm saying is that as the future continues to progress, that mobility is going to increase. And the internet and Gen AI and the robots that are going to be walking our earth within the next decade, right? Like we will have autonomous robots walking amongst us, working with us within the next 10 years. No shadow of a doubt in my mind. Like it's going to be a part of our reality, right? So all of these things are going to change our mobilities, the things we have access to. At least I hope so, right? I hope that we as human beings, kind of like click that there are new things to occupy ourselves with, right? When all of these things come online at the same time, the rat race is going to feel very bland, right? It's going to be a little bit comical. I feel like we will literally laugh at each other, laugh at ourselves. Maybe that's better. It was said once that a man could change his stars, but nowadays they call that shit a dream because you'd have to be asleep to believe it. That is pretty, it's a nice line, Sam. I just don't believe it. I do dream, right? I do dream. Like my dreams are way like I don't have the dream of having, enough money to afford living and healthcare. I have dreams of building cities on the oceans. I have dreams of creating nanotechnology that fuses to my skin. I have dreams of augmenting my body and my mind to the point where I become a whole new entity. Right? Like that's my aspirations. That sounds like a big dream, right? But that's what I'm dreaming for. Like not because of my circumstances, not because of where I am, but because of where I believe we're going. And it's gonna be it's gonna be a wild ride, And whatever ride you choose, whatever connections you choose to make, are going to be the ones that you kind of like take with you. So be mindful, right? Connect with the feeling of hope actively in your heart. Stop, please. And this is me seriously begging you. Stop connecting with this experience of there is no hope. All right. What's the point of the future? Right? Because you have options. You do have options. You can either have that option of like, oh, there is no hope, things will just get worse indefinitely, or you have, and believing that, or you have the option of like, things can get worse, but there's also hope for them to get better again. And whatever you choose to believe on a day to day level is going to be your day to day experience, right? And I want for all of us to have an experience of love, right? Please, please look up. Literally also as well, not only like from a mental, interpretation perspective, but like physically, just look up, look to the sky. It's good for you. Look into tree canopies. Because when you're occupied in this downward, even if it's just with your phone, just always downward, 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 it literally pulls you, right? Like even your face, like when you're looking upwards, your face looks like it's perking. When you're looking downwards, it looks like you're almost like sagging into yourself a little bit. And I'm doing that every single day with like my comments as well, and I'm aware of it. I want a pair of goggles, maybe even just like straight into my eye, where I can like reach at in my field of vision, and I can look at you friends while I reach at. Is that gonna be weirder if I just make painful eye contact while reading your comments? Go look at the Big Mac index. You can literally see the difference of the cost of a Big Mac in the US and the SA. If you moved to the SA, you would have a much more comfortable living in South Africa. Yeah, again, that's why I recommend as well, if you can, reskill yourself over the next 5 years to earn money online. And if you're earning in dollars, you will be comfortable anywhere in the world, pretty much. Some countries are easier to get a visa for staying longer than 3 months. This is true. I don't want to live in South Africa. Same with New Zealand. It's too far away from friends and family. I get you, Nancy. I don't want to retire to a cupboard box on the corner That's a reality here, even after working my whole life. So I'm willing to leave friends and family for comfort and security in my future. Yeah, come to South Africa, Joyviv. You can already, like, if and I've said this to you, friends, if you are paying, right, like the American average is something like $2,000 for an apartment right now, right? If you are paying that kind of money for an apartment right now, you can buy a house right now, and it'll be yours in a few years, right? Like, and you can buy a nice house. That's the best part. Not even like a rundown place. You can buy like a posy, like a space. The type of places you would see on your TV shows, you know, and idolize for that kind of money. Again, you know, some of your friends are earning money from a company that you have to be directly at in America, so you don't have that options, and I'm aware of that. But the next 5 years, the next 10 years, we can make a plan, right? Yeah, Joy, the US dollar is very strong compared to the ZAR. Like for a normal house in the US would cost you like 200 to 300K. In South Africa, you would buy a mansion for that amount. Yeah, I like how we have another South African friend in chat right now that's also like, believe me, your friends your friends have it, you know, a different world perspective. Getting far. I'll make new friends. Shit, I lost my bestie in the blink of an eye last year, so nothing is promised. Yeah, my house here is 200K. We're a wee bit low here, Pod. The house across the street from me sold for 375K. It's a one-bedroom house. A one-bedroom house for 375K. That is what? Let me do the quick maths. 375,000 times 18.3, 6.8 million rand. Let me show you, friends. Like I can like show you directly the kind of property you would be able to let's buy. Let's tell this property.co.za that we want to buy property. Bro, is this app not working? I guess not. I will type in property to my search bar. But I guess I'm trying it again. 6.8 million rand is what somebody got for a one-bedroom apartment across the street from Joy V right now. So I'm gonna show you now what kind of place you can get in South Africa for that same cash. If this, there we go, user interface will start working. Please, I do not ask for much, dear friend. I just ask for your website to load. I say, please. Yes. I'm like stuck on user interfacing right now. Like these buttons are supposed to be pressable. The sun is blasting me again, so I'm like heating up. All right, move back. Even further. Let's get a place in. Let's get a place where I'm looking for a place right now. Hartbeespoort. Like these websites are so trash, and it's making me angry. I don't know why bad user interfaces. It makes me so angry. Like it's kind of unreasonable. There we go. Let's go maximum price 7 milli because that's about how much we looked for. Let's just search that. Okay, it wants to know the suburbs that I want to live in. Fine. Hartbeespoort. There are 2,900 properties under that description. These places are cheap, cheap. No, I want to see the expensive ones first, please. Am I getting scammed right now? Is it gonna make me search for them? Show me all the sponsored ones first. All I want to see are the most expensive ones first. Okay, let me just go minimum price 6 million. There we go. Like you can literally buy businesses, straight up whole businesses for that price that are also being advertised. Like I feel so spoiled, like I do not want to wait. Like the fact that I have to wait, like I've hit search and it's still loading. It makes me unreasonably angry. Seriously, why is that? Connections? Yeah, I think that's what it is, right? Like I can feel myself losing value for every split second that I cannot make connections, right? And for every split second, I have to look at nothing. I think we're both feeling a little bit lazed. She wants to get attention and she wants to play, but she wants me to do all of the work. Sweetie. It's still loading. How is this real, bro? Please. It's not it's not that complicated. Let's try again. There we go. Like sometimes it works instantaneously, but then the literal next second it just won't. I think it's maybe our Wi-Fi that's kind of trash. But you friends know about that sometimes. So let's open these photos. So this is the kind of place that dude would have been able to buy himself for the exact same price that he bought a place in somewhere in California for, with a 1-bedroom house. Let me get this as well to get myself out of the sun because I'm getting cooked. Oh, brr. Like loading is the bane of my existence. I promise. Like there's nothing that makes me quite so angry as having to sit in front of a load screen. Like, I feel like it is unreasonable for me to get this angry about it, but I can't help it. I cannot. It cannot be helped. You can save a year as a US, a burki, asi, bro. That's a lot of money. Meltmore is like a South African unicorn. Joe Hey with a lion. It's just not loading, right? But I guess I can show you the outside thumbnails, right? These are the type of places you'll be able to buy yourself for the same. Okay, now it opened. Oh yay, loading. Oh, oh yay. Okay, we'll just show you the outside thumbnails. Same price, cheaper, a little bit more expensive. Look at that freaking building. This is the same price, right? 4 bedroom, 4 bedroom, same price, same price. A little bit more expensive, cheaper, cheaper, same price. This one is a little more expensive, cheaper. Yeah, look at them South African properties. And they look pretty sexy, right? So let's not keep going indefinitely with that. I think the point has been made. You can get away with a lot more. Like the value you have already spent the time creating in your country will go a lot further in South Africa than they could hope in America. Like it got like super humid as well. I'm kind of uncomfortable right now. You can see the clouds packing. At least out of the sun again. Mm. Keith is like throwing petrol on the fire, literally, dude. You think it's possible, Nan? I have ears. 5 bedroom mansion. Yeah, I showed them now, literally. Some of them had like 6 bedrooms. I've had psychosis 10 to 20 times from smoking weed, thinking it was just a panic attack. I'm sorry to hear that. Do you discontinue smoking weed because of that, or are you still? That sounds like psychosis mode, thinking you're gonna die, and everyone is in on it. Yeah, I handled it well though. Right? I was psychosising, but I was like, ain't ain't gonna get me down that easily. 5 day a day for a bird nest, bungalow. Yeah, that's also trippy. Like South Africa is not that cheap. Like Indonesia would probably be even better. Costa Rica, that's true. Riding my lion to the shops are always fun. It just sucks to be on a plane. When we land, there's like 100 catching the plane. JK, we have runways. Yeah, like South Africa. If you are, and I had this conversation actually on during the yoga stream as well. If you are used to the American world, if you will, you'll feel pretty at home here in South Africa. Realistically speaking, things are really not that different here. Like we as a South African culture seem to have really adopted American ways of living, right? Especially the car culture. Like South Africa has big car culture. No, 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 no. Do I get a lion standard issue when I come to South Africa pod? Also, there has been 3 or 4 white guys of all of the black guys catching and throwing the planes. You guys are like 7%, right? Yeah, that's true, right? Like 7 of those 100. Some speckles helping you catch the planes. I am back. Drums. Think I hate them. I hope you had fun at the very least for the bear. Did you beat them like a red-hearted stepchild? I'm going to post my Duck Dad's custom shoes in general. They match my logo. Blessed, dude. Do you wear them for work? Or do they stay in a box? With the lion, you have to go through our version of Naked and Afraid, and the lion chooses you, like Avatar style. However, the white guy thing will be a situation. They usually drink their lives away. You're getting too real, dude. Yeah, like that's the thing as well, like people have a bunch of opinions about South Africa and about the fact that there are white people in this country and about the fact that there are such a large majority of like colored people in our country, and that like white people hoard all the wealth, and the white people are this predatory race and no, no, unfortunately not. There are just as many poor white people than there are poor black people in this country, and it's in my mind an absolute shame that we allow people to suffer in this way, right? To have to worry again, right? Like just noticing again this process of trying to search for a place to stay, the amount of anxiety and like how price as a thing, and like, should I and could we and can we afford to? Banana messes me a bit. Oh, I'm afraid. You can save 40,000 a year. That's so crazy. Dude. That's a lot of money. 800,000 rand, bro. Yo, love is true. I didn't know that. I didn't know you could save that much money, actually. That's pretty surprising. I still don't know if I want to do it, though. I'm sorry. I do not feel cold. Maybe if I work in another farm. But I don't know if you can expect to be paid that much. Maybe you can expect to be paid more. Yeah, it's so light. I think that's the thing that's nice about it more than anything. It's like you're just gently inhaling warm puffs of air that gently floated through marijuana buds. And it's very nice. And it instantly just like, okay, yeah, chillax a little bit, bro. What's a burki? I don't make 40K. Now I'm in 40K a year. I mean, maybe you could, but you're gonna have to go and work on a farm and like drive a tractor kind of vibe, dude. You're gonna be like worked to the bone. Like I think you're gonna be worked harder than you want to be worked, and you're going to be completely away from Milani. So I don't think it's gonna be realistic. You could technically though. Source live and work in farm country also. I would hate to be a farmer of actual climate change. The year after 200 years of zone 5A for climate, we see now officially 6A. That's a big jump. Yeah, it's real, dude. Like climate change is definitely real. Fortunately, we have ways of mitigating, right? Like there's probably going to be an exponential uptick in shaded grow spaces and also solar shaded grow spaces where you can technically, leave like 1-to-1 gaps of solar to, you know, gap, if you will, and then you can like shade an area that you can still grow food underneath it, and it keeps the temperatures in check. Like you technically get better yields of like stuff like blueberries. So there's hope. Don't worry too much, right? Yes, it is going to be an expensive change, but you can technically earn money from the sun that hits your solar panels as well. Create more energy for humanity. Unfortunately, to save that much as a farmer, you have to inherit it. That's very true. Joe, the friends I know who have been able to buy property is because their parents made that possible, not because they worked and saved and bought it themselves. Yeah, I don't know many people who are actually in that position, unfortunately. No. When I work here under the H2A program, I save 30 to 40K a year. When I come back, the cost of living here is like 20K annually. Yeah, about. Right, like the number I gave you, friends, is like $500 a month, which comes to like 6K, right? So between 6 and 20K, that's about your cost of living in South Africa. This is true. 6K if you're like super cheap, and you're okay with mildly starving. If you're not okay with that, 20K is like the higher end. You'll be comfortable enough. Mm-mm-mm-mm. Yeah, Joe, exactly. My wife grew up across the street from one of the oldest farms in our area. The family got it in the 1800s. Now it's getting pissed out to developers for tens of millions. Got it, Pod. The Mexicans do that too, but you can get yourself in some real sketchy situations in a bad farm. Where are you doing it? This is true. I don't think he's doing it anymore. He's back in South Africa right now, I believe. Probably let you know. Grew up around wealthy farmers. Me too, technically, in this area. It's a kind of culture where it's not what you know, it's who you know. Exactly. It's that way almost in any industry, realistically. Joe, but I bet every single one of them told you how poor they are as they cash their subsidy checks. Because to them, having come from their families being like ultra millionaires, their subsidy checks to them getting hundreds of thousands of dollars to them is nothing. To them, they are poor. That's the joke as well. In their own minds, they're telling you the truth. My fam, we're out of towners, so that's why I'm weird and feral raccoon. I have a farmer tell me he was poor, went into his garage where he had 7 vehicles, all over 80 grand, and then he was telling me about. Excuse me. Oh, sounds about right. Sounds about right. Well, if you were born in the 90s, you would have more patience with loading screens. Probably, I think you're right. If I grew up with dial-up, I technically grew up. Like the first internet connection I ever had was 500 kilobits up and down. And that was still technically speaking, I think faster than dial-up. And then we upgraded to a 2 megabyte line, and then we went up to an 8 megabyte line, and then our latest upgrade was up to 25, and that's been where we're stuck at. 25 up, 25 down, and that's supposed to be more than enough, right? Technically, for what I'm doing, for loading a website, 25 megabyte down should be more than enough. So yeah, and the fact that I'm paying for it, right? Like it's a business line that we're paying for. It's supposed to be for my business, right? So if I am working with my client and I want to open a website for my client, and I'm sitting there twiddling my fingers because my freaking website is not loading due to my internet being jacked, that's not a good look for me, and I do not appreciate it. ISP, thank you very much. Get super salty about that stuff. Leftovers are life. I had 56K dial up. I used to spend 10 minutes waiting for a single boob. Yeah, I feel like if I grew up in that age as well, porn would have never been a thing for me either. Like when I was a teenager, porn was like a utility thing. It served a function. And then last year, was it the beginning? Was it last year, like in February or April? I spent some time meditating on that fractal, and it became clear to me that that is not the kind of imagery that I want to be inputting into my system. It came with like the whole consideration of like these flowers, you know, where since I make these psychedelic flowers every single day, my entire life experience is influenced by it, right? When I take psychedelics, that's the kind of stuff that I see, right? It's like I've been programming my neurons and the channels and the pathways that they have to create information when it comes to imagination for me, and I don't want to put information into my imagination that does not serve me, right? Doesn't serve my purpose, doesn't serve my creative pursuit, right? I don't think I'll ever create lewd art. I don't think I would have to. I think there's more than enough sexual content as it is. My content is intended to connect, right? Not to only stimulate. At least I hope. Mm-hmm. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. Different people, bro. All farmers are on it together. They all tell everyone how poor they are, and then you go home to play in their Scrooge McDuck and Vault. I am the king of leftovers. Grew up poor, so I'm pretty much a garbage can. My mom literally calls me and my dad, man, the human garbage can or something like that. Because if there's leftovers, it will be eaten. Melt, you won't believe this dude in the US. The chicken fillets at Walmart are fucking huge. When you grill them, they actually split flames. They actually spit flames like a lamb chop, dude. Like 300-gram chicken fillets. Our standard big is like 80. They got that super gene edited. Chickens can barely stand up on their own 2 feet because of how heavy they are. Chickens in America, dude. Thank you. Thank you for the chickens we have. We have chickens here. Our chickens look pretty stoked to be alive. Oh, they're totally going to be my plant selling shoes. I'll be wearing them to plenty. I don't know how to keep a pair of shoes for special occasions and or clean. I get it, dude. But the size of our chicken breast is actually a huge problem. The quality of our chicken is terrible because they overgrow the breasts. It's such a short period of time. They're fibrous like wood. They literally have like flakiness to them. You're right, dude. Totally. iPod, they're ginormous. We pay about $20 for a pack, and you have enough chicken for 3 weeks. That's crazy. You know, if you have to save money on food, I guess that's another way, right? Unless you can afford to pay top dollar or raise your own birds, the quality of chicken in this country isn't even close to what it was when I was a kid. I don't even mess with the breasts anymore. Chicken thighs are where it's at. You think it's because of the bones?
I think the bones help add a little bit more textured mass instead of low texture, high texture, thick texture mass. Right? I think of it like technically it's cell walls, right, growing, right? And instead of it being like nah, 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 it's like nah, nah, nah. So in my mind, I don't actually have a problem with it because I do understand. I have a problem with the inhumane conditions, right, and the discomfort that some of those birds experience. My mind, I don't know if this is like evil to think about or dystopian. It's a little bit strange, new worldy, But to if you're going to gene edit the chickens to be abnormously big, to what nature kind of like made them as originally, at least make them abnormously strong as well. Like give them extra strong bones, right? And maybe even while you're at it, edit their dopamine response, right? Make those chickens strip the fuck out. Make them have the best time of their lives, always, right? Like they're so stoked for every second of their existence. I don't know if that's bad. Is that bad? Do you feel like there's something wrong with that? If we're going to have to continue eating chickens, right? Because that's not going to stop. Realistically speaking, we're not going to stop eating chickens. They're really tasty to a lot of people, right? So, if that's going to be the reality, how can we ensure that they at least have the best quality of life possible? Strong bones. Give them the strong bones and give them dopamine. Is dopamine going to be enough? Do they want serotonin? No. No, they don't. They don't want serotonin. They want time to pass fast. Dopamine. We'll give them dopamine. I don't know. Like my mind is going to like a weird extreme where someone is listening to my stream and then goes, okay, they have like a ton of cocaine that they don't know what to do with and they start feeding their chickens cocaine. I don't know if that's a good idea. Please. Naturally, own neurochemicals. We can like make their own receptors a little bit more. We can give them more. We can give them more dopamine receptors technically, making them a little bit more sensitive to their own dopamine. Every single time they get a little piece of food, they're like super stoked about it, right? It's like the best tasting food they've ever had in their entire existence, even though it's the exact same food they had 5 seconds ago. Right? Like, and I'm really thinking about this from me being the chicken because I believe I am. I'm being chickens right now in a cage somewhere, all over the world. And there's like chicken directly here up in my face, and there's chicken here up in my face, and there's chicken right here up in my face as well. And there is food underneath me, and there is lights above me, and I'm in a box. And I'm aware. I'm aware of this situation, but I'm like, I still have this drive to survive, so I keep eating my food, right? Right? So, as that version of me, I would want to give the chickens a good time, instead of just having bare inside warehouses. I want to have maybe like psychedelic flowers, maybe we can have TVs up there, show them, I don't know, green pastures. Is that torture? Is that worse? I don't know. But surely we can give the chickens a better time. Surely with AI, maybe with like straight like MRI scanning chicken brains when they experience different things, seeing the neural activity, we can figure out what they like more of, or just like straight brain-computer interfacing. Like, this is weird. I'm sorry. Connections, yes, making connections. Pippi is being super cute. I don't know really what she's doing. I think an ant walked over her feet and now she's doing that. The things we do for chickens and farm animals in general are shameful. Also, our food is so full of preservatives and chemicals that we don't trust the food I put in my mouth daily. The amount of anxiety that must cause alone. I'm so sorry, Joy Vive. Joy, you were right not to trust it. When I went to Europe and spent 20 days there eating only the food that was grown there, my stomach issues completely disappeared in 2 days. Duck Dad. Bro. The fact that you literally have to take enzymes just to be able to process the food qualities you're eating in America right now. In the US, oh wow, that's even cheaper actually than I thought, man. When I went to India, I was like, I never eaten so much as a real tomato Before everything was so fresh, our food system is garbage. I want to try street food. Me too. So I have tried street food, but I want to try more street food. Right? Like weirdly enough, I find myself sometimes nostalgically longing for the street food I had access to in China. And I knew it wasn't good quality. I knew, but it was good. And it was something else. And there were people, right? And you could watch them make your food. And I mean, when I say it's not good, who am I to say it's not good, right? Like it was what it was. It was oily, noodly, chickeny, vegetable-y foods. Sometimes, sometimes different pastries and breads. But it's not something you do every day. But it's nice to have access to. Like if you go traveling, right, doing something like that is super nice. You experience pieces of culture, even if it's just tourist traps, right? Like if it's supposed to be a tourist trap, then again, you're the one making that connection, and that is where the value lies, surely. The Needleskies are the biggest farmers in Nebraska. They use 1,250 South Africans a year. And they also talk about how poor they are, but they profit 10 million plus a year. A bad year, apparently. Brr. Yeah, we're so poor. We only have 1,250 employees, you know. Big Pharma has 30,000. We're so poor. We're not making billions a year. So poor are we? Like we are making only like 10% of our homie who makes billions. So poor. I'm so poor. And they believe it. That is the joke. They actually believe it. And it's this never-ending hoarding race. And that's why they're not willing to help. Because in their own minds, they are poor in comparison to their richer friends. From what I understand, Nebraska is full of good people. I would stay away from Wisconsin, Illinois, Indiana, unfortunately. A lot of those farmers treat migrant workers as below human. That's unacceptable. When I look down, I see hands. When you look down, you see hands. The color, the finger length, the little lines is neither here or there. We're looking at the exact same thing. From the exact same place, but from different eyes. You licking your toes? You licking toesies? Your toesy licking? Look at the, what you gonna do? What you gonna do? What you gonna do, silly? You gonna bite me? I can also be annoyed. One of my favorite lines about these little animals, these Jack Russells, is that they're the only creature that can annoy another creature to death. They can annoy another creature to death. Pippi feels so stiff right now. She feels like she's being an animatronic. Did you get replaced by a robot last night? Did you? Did you get replaced by robots? Oh, now you're pretending to be old Pippi. Is that what's happening? Oh no, look at me. I'm activating my. They're suspecting me to be a robot protocol. I'm gonna play instead. No. Meld, what camera are you using? I'm using my cell phone selfie camera, dude. Actually, it's a 10 megapixel one though, I think, or 8 megapixel. I think it's 8 megapixel. It is pretty good though. I think there might be some YouTube processing magics happening as well, but you're silly. You silly thing. I'll take your hand. I'll take it for myself. I'll take it. This is mine now. Oh, bless you. Bless you, sweetie. Bless you. Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you for the lemons. That's so nice of you. Thank you, thank you. That's nice. That was nice, right? We had fun. We had fun. We made some connections. Hey, relax now. It's calm, it's calm, calm. So calm, so relaxed, so peaceful. Bless you. You okay? You seem to be like going through some things right now. Are you alright? Sneezy? You feeling a little bit itchy? Feeling a little robotic? Huh? Come on. Mm, mm, mm. You silly. You silly. Okay. We have food truck fests every now and then. However, the kind of street food where they prepare it like an artful cooking show right in front of you. My eyes are hungry for that. Yeah, I had a few moments like that. I had one where a person, showed me how he made like these designs of like melted sugar. That one was pretty cool as well. I was like, that's pretty neat. And then I proceeded to eat his hard work. That felt kind of surreal as well. And I was like, lighting is more important than anything, really, Josh. Like you can get away with pretty bad camera if you have relatively good lighting, apparently. That's why we went lights first. That's why I tried to get like good lighting of the outside as well. Do you do not eat street food in India as a foreigner? You will get seriously ill. I ate in certain restaurants exclusively. Yeah, maybe. Apparently, that happened to some of my family members as well. I would still probably risk it, and within reason, right? I'll like be like there and like look and stuff and be like, what's the aura? What's the feeling? What's the vibe I'm getting off of this little food place? And if I can still check out, then I'll check out probably. Give the chicken cocaine. I like how Zana was on the same train as me. Unfortunately, someone somewhere has probably given a chicken cocaine. 100% people have 100% given chicken. That's very sure. We instead of hugging it all, but chickens are assholes. So I know it's. I've had that feeling about cows as well, dude. I don't think cows are good people. The cows seem to be assholes sometimes. Yeah, like literally, mama. My mom is next to me. She's hanging some linen, and I've had these experiences with the cows, like just like relentlessly screaming and screaming and screaming, where I'm like, yes, bro, you make me want to eat you right now. You know that. I'm so sorry. I wish I didn't enjoy the taste of, you know, semi-glutide, but I do, and you make it easy for me to eat you when you scream like that. So lucky to have a little baby so close to me. Oh, okay. What's that landscape like? I've done hibachi once. I want to do hibachi as well. I didn't get to do hibachi myself when I was in China. It's when like the person is like, right. That's the way that I think that word's supposed to make me connect. I'm in a super rural place though. Gotta drive an hour one way to see a town that has more than one grocery store and a few gas stations. Even though I understand how that can be uncomfortable in some ways, yo, I also see it like a really good thing on the other side, right? Because at least you can always drive that 1 hour to get to a town that only has or that has more than one shop, right? But it's not like you can change your place of living in 1 hour to be that out in the world. And I've like seen your world, it is super beautiful. So trade-offs, right? I'm exaggerating a little, but it's actually an hour to the closest real city. Sounds right. What people like, I don't even know which city or the town you're in right now. What people forget about farms is they have a giant amount of equity you can use to get whatever you want. Yeah, you can get loans, right? I can't start my business because I don't have enough equity. Put 100 acres of land up and that gets you any loan. Exactly, dude. Yeah, small dinos. What is the landscape like? And Joe. It's Indiana, Nan. If I had to guess, it's all corn and Nazis. Sam, I'm close to the Indiana Nazis. There, that Joe, she's closer to Ohio. Okay, they still have racists. They're just not as angry and Bible thumping. It's really crazy here, yo, but beautiful if you can get far enough down the creek. Exactly. Ja, ek sien hy sukkel bietjie om mooi te hang. Ons het een van ons hoenders nou gewees. Ons praat bietjie oor hoenders. Ek sê as ons die hoenders gaan genetically modify, dat hulle sulke groot borsies het. Hulle reken dat as ons 300 gram hoenderborsies, een hoenderborsie in Amerika. Ja. Like your buffalo wings are bigger than the wings we get here in South Africa as well, my mom just said. So to sê ek, as ons hulle gaan genetically modify, kom ons genetically modify hulle om sterker bene te hê en om heeltyd hoog te wees. Jy weet, soos gee vir hulle meer dopamine in hulle breine. So dan is elke korreltjie kos wat hulle eet aansienlik lekkerder vir hulle ook. Jy weet, so ons praat nou 'n bietjie daaroor en toe sê mense ja, ons wil die hoenders kokain gee, want dit is 'n manier om jy dopamine te gee. Dis ons daar is teen ergens in die wêreld al mense gewees wat vir hulle hoenders kokain gegee het. So is 'n interessante geselskap. No. Bro. No, love's true. Rolling hills, giant beautiful trees and waterways, all kinds of wildlife. I picked up a baby deer before and gave it back to mama. Is maar moeg.
Ja, flip it.
Aha. Van al die goeders ophang.
Was goed.
Ja, ek kan dink. My mom
Tyd gebak en ek het gimmerkoekies nou.
Lieve genade. My mom sent me a message this morning telling me to bring my clothing. So she's washed my clothing, her clothing, sisters, dads, brothers. She hanged a bunch of the linen, and she made rusks and gemmer cookies. Mom is a machine.
En ek het die kos in die oond gesit en ek het
Oh yeah, it's true. Mom even cooked as well for tonight. Dankie mama. Waardeer dit. Thank you, Mom. Appreciate it. Rolling hills, all kinds of wildlife. Picked up a baby deer before and gave it back to Mama. It's a fairy tale underneath the noses of the system walkers. Yeah. Like I feel you are well positioned, Joe. So well positioned. I'm happy that you were in that space, truly. Did you get replaced by robots last night? Maybe. Pippi looking. You saw that, right? You did see that. It did seem like she was like, oh no, he cut me out. And then she instantly tried to distract me. Are you trying to distract me? I should show you this. No, it's already gone. It was kind of funny. Pippi had this look on her face and this pose that she was in, but then instantly, as I wanted to turn the camera around, she has gone to new shenanigans. But I was out riding motorcycles one day. I like to go that way because there's less cars that can hit me. I went into a bar for a beer and was super surprised. They asked if I was joining. Joining what? Joining the KKK. No, sir. But can you say no, sir? Is saying no, sir a threat to your own life? Do you have to say yes, sir? Do you then instantly get branded on your forehead? I'm sorry, like my mind wants to traumatize that, but that must have been rough, bro. I'm sorry. I said no, thank you. I'm 50% Swahili. I jumped on my motorcycle, got the fuck out of there. I thought you were close to Indy. You described the Northern Kennedy. That's That's so ridiculous. I'm less than an hour from KY. There we go. Makes sense. God's country. I used to drive to KY to get alcohol on Sundays in my darkest days. It wasn't sold on Sundays in Indiana because we love the Lord here. Bless you all. Good. Love the Lord harder. Make it Saturdays and Sundays that you can't buy alcohol. And then love the Lord even harder and then make it Fridays, Saturdays and Sundays. And then love the Lord ultimately and then just ban alcohol completely and start smoking weed. Like there are like Christian sects that get super blazed and pray, right? And they have a good time. You can, right? I understand prayer. I get it. I do. It's just not for me because I don't get to make the connections I want to make, right? It's like you're connecting with like this ethereal, like larger than yourself energy, right? And I get that. I try to do that as well, as much as the next person. However, I believe there's more value in connecting with one another, right? On life, we are life to connect with that life, right? I feel like there is so much value in that for me at the very least. Kept singing Jesus take the wheel. Oh goodness. So I don't think cows are good people. That's all cows. They break things. They do things bad on purpose. They know they're not supposed to do that thing. They'll do it anyway, just because they see a gap to do that bad thing, right? If you give them too much of a gap, like I've seen videos, some of your friends might have seen it as well, like some of the cows in India, right? Because they're treated like godlike entities, they assume they are, and they treat you like shit, right? Like they'll literally like walk down an alleyway, and like a little kid, is minding their own business, and then we'll just like freaking mangle them against the wall because, right? Like cows will do stuff like that. So that information like that has communicated to me. And again, maybe it's like an all cows thing, right? Maybe I'm being a cow racist, or maybe I'm stereotyping. That probably sounds better. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if cows are good people. Guilty until guilty until proven innocent. I guess for me. I feel like this is so revealing of like some of the things we do as people as well. I feel like I'm very exposed right now. The thighs aren't nearly the same size for whatever reason. It's just the breasts, so the thighs still taste relatively like chicken. Okay, makes sense. You guys, the cow stream. I've been helping at the cousin's ranch the past few days, and it's time to get up, get coffee, and see what the chores are today. Enjoy yourselves, everyone. Bless you, Nancy. May you have fun today, dear friends. We, but we are Taurus melt. I must know. That's why I feel the liberty to be able to say these things, right? Like the bull, I don't think the bull is necessarily a good person, right? I have to be a good person. That bull version of me is not a good person, right? That bull version of me will trample you. It will straight trample you, right? And it will continue forward just as aggressively after trampling you, right? And I don't know if I want to be that version of myself. So I had to not be. I had to be like invite the energy of the butterfly, right? That willingness to go and pollinate, right? Share information, make connections, right? I had to connect with that energy of the lion to have some pride in myself and that willingness to take care of a family or a space, my tribe, my pride, literally. So there's room, I guess. We are assholes too. Maybe that's why we see our asshole selves in them. Yes, exactly, Zano. Like it's a level of self-awareness, I guess. Just saw your flatland comment. The north of me is so boring. The flat parts, I really super love it here. Sure, it's uncomfortable distance from society, but I actually really enjoy driving. And the next close city is artsy and so lovely. Yeah. So that's a double incentive to actually do go to the cities, when you feel called to that little bit more social dynamic space. How far away are you from your polling place? I don't even know what that is. Drove 3.5 hours south from the house and only charged 20 feet. Only changed 20 feet of elevation. That's almost ridiculous. Damn, mom be momming. But what she make for dinner? She made like a a thing of meat. Imagine if you walked into a store and there was just like a unit of meat that was just standing there. Something like that. I'm so sorry. I don't know. I think it's called it's not a rump. Is it a rump? Something from a pig. Smoked pig thing. Flesh. Thing of flesh. That got put in the oven. Being human is a lot sometimes, yo. I will honor the animal that gave his flesh with every single bite so I can sustain my life. I've actually lost so much muscle mass in the year 2023. I ate significantly less protein, and it was very curious to notice my body changing as a result of it as well. I do want to get a little bit. I'm probably not going to eat that much protein this year. Is dit wat ons eet? Wat's daai? It was cookies. Ons het net gepraat vir wat staan in Wintus? A boat.
Partner.
Oh, it's a neck. It's a pig neck. Thank you, Mama. This is my mom's packaging and gingerbread biscuits look like. I don't know if you can read that, but that says baking in high heels. So that's my mom's brand. And this is what her cookies look like. So I don't know if it's that clear, but this is kind of micro porous. So what I like to do is I dip this in milk and then I suck the milk off of it like a bunch of times. Nee, vat hom vol saam. Ek wil nie gaan eet nie. Dankie mamma. Anders gaan ek nou weer goed in my mond hê en dan gaan ek dit proe en dan gaan ek nog een wil eet en. So you dip that in milk and then you suck the sugary, gingery goodness, right? Like it's like you get to like have a drink with your cookie. And it stays crispy even after you've dipped it like 3 times, which is very surprising. It's amazing. It's like 60 rand for that little bag as well. So $3. $3.30 for that whole bag of cookies. I keep telling my mom to charge more for her baked goods, but she is resisting. I tell her that she should like up her prices like to like $4, even $5 a bag, you know? And then even though she'll lose customers in the short term, some people will stop buying from her. The amount of offset, you know, that the people who will be buying, the amount of profit she'll be making in comparison, she'll actually end up making more overhead in the long term, and she'll be working less, you know. And I want my mom to work less because like that's her thing, you know, the baking. Like I've baked my fair bit of goods, but it's not me, right? Like it's not my thing. My thing is growing things. Like I really like being involved in the active process of manifesting, right? Making those connections, putting in that effort to see it continue to grow, right? And this is that. My Patreon is that. My yoga is that. My plants is that. So this new project we're gonna start with as well, the business of doing 3D mapping, also something that needs to continue growing, that as it continues to grow it should start pulling other people in as well, you know. That's the big thing. Like for me, being like a numbers guy, I feel bad that my mom isn't making more money, right? Like there is only so much money you can make when you're the one doing your own baking, right? And there's only so much room in the oven, and there's only so much room in the mixing bowl, and there's only so much hours in a day. I'm obsessed with scale because I believe we need to be doing the things that can reach billions, right? And I do believe my mom would. I've recommended to her as well that she should like start a YouTube channel where she just like makes a bunch of, you know, live streams of her baking, literally, and then does like seasonal videos of her doing like full walkthroughs of different recipes, and then you can follow along and bake these things. I've told my mom that she could, you know, be a big hit online, you know, doing stuff like that. I can see her thinking about it, but I think it's like a barrier of entry thing. Maybe I'll buy her a robot one day that has like a camera built in, and then it will film her and like compile content for her, and then I can like help her with her brand that way. Slowly but surely, right? We'll make the connections as they come. I just hope it doesn't take that long. I don't want it to take longer than 5 years. It's 5 years. It's 5 years too optimistic for me. We'll see. They posted on Craigslist barter section. Beautiful handyman will trade work for musical instruments. And of course, Joy, I use a selfie. I have one day off a week and I don't want to spend money, but you want instruments? I kind of like that, bro, because guarantee, and this is probably where your mind went as well. Like, guarantee there is someone who has an unkept lawn but a guitar that stands in their room that is just gathering dust right now, right? I approve, dude. This sounds cool, man. Fingers crossed for some new cymbals for a couple of hours of work. I should have gone with cymbals, you know. There's a drum set standing there, and his cymbals are absolutely caked in dust, and you can like drag your finger through it. There we go. Now if we've made the correct connection, I see you, Doug Dad. Christian sex. Don't make a joke. Don't make a joke. People think California is a bastion of freedom and togetherness, but there are Nazis in Berkeley. There are Nazis probably everywhere, dear friend. People who are like I consider racism stupidity. I don't know if I'm supposed to say stuff like that, but I do think if you're like racist by your own choice, right? Like it's one thing to be raised racist and you don't know any better, right? And you haven't had people in your life who could kind of like, you know, show you that different colored people are people just as you and you can have meaningful connections with them, right? And those connections can be very valuable to you, right? If they never had those opportunities, I can understand racism from that perspective. But if you have, you know, actually spent the time, and that's maybe the thing that I think of stupid as well, right? Like if you're not willing to do that stuff, I think of that as stupid as well. If you're not willing to go and get to know other people, to learn from them, to see how they think differently and how that differences can be valuable still, right? Then that's pretty stupid of you, right? You're losing out. You are losing out by being a racist, right? The people you are racist towards are losing nothing, right? They're losing nothing to you hating them. You are the one losing something because you kind of like cutting yourself off from that side of reality. It's a damn shame. Stop. Stop it, people. Come on. Come on. Shh, shh, shh. Come on. Stop it. Stop screaming. Stop biting me. Stop. It was half an hour before I finally changed my address. Now it's like 15 minutes. Mikasa is in the middle of a town. Humans are terrible in every state in the union. Your mic is. Oh, you're right. Oh my goodness. How long have I been. Connections. Yeah. Yeah, there's something in there about connections. You know? Maybe that's the lesson we were supposed to absorb. It cut out during yoga too, right before we went into warrior. Just a couple of moves, come back. No, this is my microphones are just dead. They are like I technically shouldn't have streamed this long, and I knew that. I knew that my batteries only had like maybe an hour and a half in them, but I couldn't. I just had too much fun with you, friends. And look at those valuable connections we made today. Yeah, dude, like this is such a nice stream, and I knew with today's stream topic that it was gonna be a nice one, but I couldn't have predicted it would be this good. Ham block meatloaf, kind of like it's a pig neck. My battery on this is on 5%, and my freaking light just died. Everything is on its way out right now. Hey Jake, Mr. Rock. Hey Doug. When push comes to shove, fall back 15 and punt. Bless you, bro. Thank you for the. I don't know if that was encouragement, but I'm gonna take it as encouragement. Screaming shed, new instrument, or the two is self care. Working for my passions. You scream. I'm going to think that. Oh goodness, Sam, I need some hedonism. That's malice. This is ignorance thing again. Exactly. Yeah. Don't attribute to malice what you can contribute to ignorance. Another one is don't contribute to malice, but you can contribute to stupidity. But the ignorance is a little bit more gentle. Look at these, love again. But exactly, I'm only taking jobs I want. Maybe I'll get lucky and do something that's actually fun and got a proper new symbols. Bless you, bro. Let's pull a card. I only have like 5% battery left. There will be no kalimba because I can't actually drop my microphone on it for good sound quality. But we have been like literally, we killed the microphone's battery. Light's battery is dead, and we're on 5%, on the cell phone. So I feel we made the most of it. Let me deplete my water too. Yeah, all the connections need to be made. Because technically, if you do make a connection, you're closing a circuit, which means energy is flowing, which means you will technically deplete your batteries. Good for you, Duck. I don't work for clients. I don't like. I learned that the hard way. That's brutal. I also did. Also, did you check out my snowman? It's pretty jazzed out. He used to have snow all the time as kids. Now sometimes, not at all. This one is pretty. I haven't seen it, bro. Saying my office sales. Sometimes you win big by losing. I believe you make connections no matter what you do, right? And that is what's valuable. I have lost money trusting people I shouldn't have trusted, all right? But I learned things. I made connections. What did you just say? I won. I won. I won by losing. Yeah, I won so much. Thank you, bro. Thank you for the $10, man. Your third super. I wonder if it's gonna keep saying, if it's gonna keep saying every single time you do give me a super, right? Because I hope so. I hope that eventually that number, like doesn't have enough room on the bar. Like a person has given me 50,000, 5 billion, 9 trillion. That's not how numbers work. I know. I'm embellishing. Bless. I'm just saying thank you. Thank you, Josh. Okay. Let's see if we can pull a card. There's a few symbols I use all the time. I don't know how this relates to today's stream topic. Connections made. Okay, I know. I believe every single one of us, the connection we share is the fact that every single one of us is a firekeeper. You're like, what does the card look like, Melt? Like so. The firekeepers. Look at us. Didn't I talk about when I look down, I see hands today as well, right? With the whole racist thing as well. Like, why are you racist? When you look down, you see hands. When the person you're racist towards looks down, they see hands. And then we pull this card. Look at that. That's, oh, I freaking, yeah. Yes. Yes. Firekeepers. And like the way that Francine Hart like made this work of art, she made it like, all skin colors are being encapsulated, in it as well. Like it's hands, but those same hands literally have all the different skin colors on them. Francine, you couldn't have known that I would make this connection right now, and yet here it is. Yeah, I think it's a streak. Good. Good, that's pretty cool. Let's read what this card means, bro. Firekeepers, sacred responsibility and service. Service. Fire is historically the source of protective warmth, light in the darkness, and heat for cooking, and was essential to the survival of original peoples. Firekeepers hold a sacred responsibility both for the physical survival and the ceremonial spiritual protection of the community. Theirs is an essential and esteemed service. Triangles represent spirit, divinity, life, strength, harmony, and completion. The upward facing triangle is traditionally associated with fire, action,
and the masculine. Three fires warming many hands invite you to warm to the understanding of these three levels of conscious personal mastery: physical awareness, mental intention, and spiritual evolution. You are invited to become aware of the effects that your actions have on this physical plane. Are you living your bliss through your chosen vocation? Does your job contribute to the welfare of those around you as well as to your own needs? Secondly, mental intention. Engage your mind and reflect on how the responsibilities you have chosen contribute to the whole of humanity. How might you more effectively engage your intentions to set in motion your vision of the future? Spiritual evolution. Explore your connection to spirit and request to be of greater service to divine will and the evolution of consciousness. This is a card of action. Recognize your sacred responsibility, and it will help bring you into alignment with the purpose of your soul. Make that connection, friend. That's pretty trippy, right? Recognition of your sacred responsibility is a connection you have to make, right? You make that connection. This is my sacred responsibility. And then upon making it, that becomes your reality. You get to share your reality with other human beings, right? Like, I looked at that scene and I was like, you need to share this with your friends. And I did in that moment. And then you friends now get to feel whatever it is you're feeling looking at that. Love is true. His battery is about to die. Yeah, it is. It is dead. Like I have 1%. Oh goodness, let's see. Have the most harmonious day, everyone. You are for really realser, so superly, massively, duperly, muchly adored, mindful Mr. Meltmore, and all of you, oh so very opulently, synergistically, magnanimously, enrichingly, seraphically, ineffably, facetedly, vividly, collaboratively, exponentially, authentically, wholesome humanimal critter creatures, doubling the value by sharing the connection. Yow! Thank you, dear Xiao. What a beautiful Shan message that was. Love is true. I picked orange too. You did. Sorry for not honoring you properly. Thank you, Jack, Mizarag. I'm only now seeing your donation, dear friend. Like the colors are even like kind of matchy-matchying, like this final scene, right? Can you feel it too? Maybe I can do it like this. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Love is true.